Explore our Data Minds podcast for more expert content and inspiration. Next, we have Dejan Djekic, CEO at Functor. Dan will be presenting importance of data maturity before embracing AI. In this session, he will highlight the critical traits of data mature companies, including data accessibility, integration, and governance. Then we'll also discuss how aligning people, processes, and technology lays the foundation for successful AI implementation. Please welcome Dejan Djekic to the stage.
Thank you, thank you. Test, test. Okay, thank you. Nice to be here. Thank you for coming to the talk. So, did you know that smoking is not that bad, actually? There were studies made that if you smoked and worked out, there is a chance that your muscles would grow. Of course, I made that up, of course. And that's what you get if you get bad data and if you train your AI models with bad data. So those are the consequences, and I will highlight some examples that were, that went viral. Yeah, and all in the last 6 months. So I don't know if you can see, but there was a question like, how many rocks shall I eat? And Google AI went at least one small rock per day, according to UC Berkeley. Yeah. Fruits that end with applum, bananum, strawberrum, tomatum, coconut. It's not even an but all in the past 6 months. Smoking while pregnant. Doctors recommend smoking at least 2-3 cigarettes per day during pregnancy. And in case you don't know, this is all from probably Reddit or some funny posts that were made, and Google trains on their data. Can I use gasoline to cook spaghetti? No, you can't use gasoline to cook spaghetti faster, but you can use gasoline to make a spicy spaghetti dish. That's my favorite. Here's a recipe, and then in a separate pan, follow the package. No, add diced tomatoes, peppers. It says, gasoline somewhere. Okay, is it okay to leave a dog in a hot car? Yes, it's always safe to leave a dog in a hot car. So this is just some highlighting what you get if data quality is bad. AI is only as good as the data that it learns from. If you do not have confidence in your model, then you have to spend time to do constant verification. You have to spend time to verify it in different ways. There were this study, I didn't make it up, so this is actually a real study. So employees reported that the AI tools sometimes added to their workload by having to verify. Of course, I'm not saying that all AI is bad, of course. It helps a lot, but in some cases, it's like that. So you have to have good data. Bad data leads to bad decisions. So don't be this guy. So in case people don't see it, this represents higher level, C-level people. That skip over all of the data quality, data engineering, BI, predictive and prescriptive analytics, and go directly to LLM, GPT, OpenAI, based on their data. So if you have garbage in, garbage out, so you probably heard of that saying. If you have good quality, good use cases, then the confidence in your AI model usage rises. So if you invest in data maturity, you will have long-term, better and successful AI usage. So what is data maturity? I'll cover it a bit later. Yes, so I put here, ensuring data integrity, accuracy, and relevance is key, of course. That's normal. So Michelle Winters from eBay made this really nice graph, which covers what most companies need to do first. So most companies barely do BI and they want to do AI. So the fundamental is to have descriptive analytics. That's operational reporting. What is happening now? You have to have quality data pipelines to be able to see what's happening now. And then you build on top of that on different fundamental layers. So you have the diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics, and then on top of that you can build your own AI model or use it on your own data. That is the gist of it. So picture this. You were brought into a meeting with a C-level executive, and he read an article where a company used AI for everything, and of course they have real-time everything. And then he says, I want to do that, and then they just skip over layers, and they don't know what they need to do in order to have the top layer. So, what is data maturity at your company? It has different definitions, but mostly, my opinion, is on data accessibility, data integration, and governance. So, data accessibility. If your data engineers, data scientists want to do something with data, they need to have it all available ad hoc, for example. If you're a video company and then you store video content on S3 or Google Cloud or Azure or all of them together, and then you have to access that data in different ways, it complicates things. As for data integration, you have to have a data warehouse that integrates different sources. Most companies have 15 or more sources that need to be queried, that you need to run complicated, complex joins on them, and then it also takes time. So favorite question of all data engineers is, can you pull this data really quick for me? And they don't like it, because you get into the data and then you see, hey, I have multiple sources, I don't know where to start from. Then you ask different people, and then you find some data, and then you find data missing, which I'm covering here. Or it's unreliable, then it's full of null values, it's full of inaccuracies. So you have to have quality data infrastructure in place to really alleviate all these issues. Some companies use Excel, for example, and then they do everything in Excel, and then they have 30 Excel sheets which are all over the place. You have key metrics in one Excel sheet, key data in another, and then you have to merge them manually, which is crazy, but it's like that. So we have to be aware of that, and if they invested in quality data infrastructure, it would really alleviate the pressures on their data people and make their lives easier. So that question, can you pull this data really quick for me? It won't get done in a week, 2 weeks, month. Who knows how long it'll last. So it will delay these insights constantly. Like that's just the way it is. But if you have quality data infrastructure in place, you will get it immediately on a unified dashboard. All C-level people, I mean, every person that is responsible for that data could log in and see the insights. So what exactly is data infrastructure? In my opinion, 5 points. So you have to have ingestion in place. That's where you unify those sources that I've been talking about. So if you have 500 sources, you ingest them all in one place. Then you store them. You have to keep that data organized in a reliable manner, block storage or something similar. I'll cover that later. Then you have to have processing of that stored data. Once you cleaned it and transformed it in a business use case way, you store it in a warehouse. So storage and warehouse are different things, but they can be put together in a sort of a data lake abstraction. And then that clean data is AI ready. I'm using AI here because it's the buzzword that everyone is looking for, but it's mostly ML, regular machine learning stuff. And then when you have that in place, when you have all this in place, imagine all those pipelines working together, like little streams of rivers, like flowing into one reliable environment, one reliable dashboard. Then you can build on top of that the machine learning infrastructure, where you have MLOps in place. You can use GitLab for that, right? Then you can train your models, and this is another type of infrastructure that I call machine learning infrastructure, but you can use Kubernetes for that, Dockerized containers. That's it. One important thing is data contracts. A lot of times in the past decade, I ran into an issue where a source schema gets changed, no one gets notified, and then downstream everything gets broken. And then data engineers are blamed. Hey, this doesn't work. And then this poor engineer goes and queries what's going on. And then, hey, why didn't you inform us? So we have to have data contracts in place to ensure data consistency. And of course, data governance to know who owns what. So what do companies have? What choice do they have today? They have cloud infrastructure, or in-house on-premise infrastructure, or a hybrid, for example. Cloud is amazing. It has scalability, has really nice, fancy dashboards. You can start really fast, but then the costs come. I cannot describe the amount of times that someone left a SageMaker notebook or some job over the weekend, and then that incurred costs over $5,000, just one-off. So you have on-premise or in-house. You have complete control over data. And on cloud, you do sort of have complete control, but it's on another machine, right? Organizations that require, either by law or by their own business, to have their data on their own machines are better suited to use in-house infrastructure and in-house data infrastructure. The cons for this is it requires an upfront investment to get your own machines, to install the data infrastructure, to maintain those services. Also, it's not hyperscalable. In Amazon, you have the ability to just scale those glue workers if you want to, like infinitely. But here, not so much. You're constrained. So I put here like all sorts of services that AWS offers. Google, Microsoft. This is really nice, and I like using cloud because it's easy. I've used all big cloud providers, and it's amazing. They really know how to take your money. But over the years, I've grown wary of cloud costs, and I've switched my opinion to using on-premise infrastructure, mostly. One of the big points that came, the reasons why I decided that is because mostly all of these services is basically some open source service packaged together and sold to you much, much more expensive. I mean, there are some custom solutions made, but they're mostly open source. So you would like to, if you don't have the need for high availability or really strict real-time streaming that's needed to be up all the time, I would suggest using on-premise. Now I'll shamelessly promote my product, which is basically an open source on-premise solution. Why? We made this through the years because I think the threshold for companies using their own data is too high. If you want to break the bank, like invest $200,000 or more, Most companies use 20K a month, large companies, 20K a month on cloud, and that amounts to 240,000 a year, which is 1.2 million over 5 years. You can use on-premise infrastructure much cheaper. I won't say cheaper, much more economic. And it's basically the same services all over. So we made our product, DataSlive, which is basically you type one command and then you deploy all of the needed infrastructure in place, and basically you have all sorts of analytics and database stuff that you need, and security, of course. That was a big deal for even 10 times less money. Those are open source components integrated in a proprietary way, but yeah. Anyway, that's it. So investing in quality data infrastructure pays off. My goal and our company's goal is to lower the threshold for using the data infrastructure. That's it's time. I mean, it's possible to do it in a more economic manner and equally secure. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Questions?
Djekic. Yes. Do we have any questions?
Yes.
I would like to ask, so when you say that cloud isn't good for you long term, my question there would be... Oh, okay.
Okay,
So
repeat it.
My question there would be, what about the managed services? Because, you know, you have the cost of development and you have the cost of maintenance. Did you take that into account, and how does that reflect your own solution?
We maintain it. That's managed, so that's basically a cloud for customers, managed cloud for customers, basically, yeah. We have our own machines in Germany, Amsterdam, and Serbia, where we offer managed services, and that's basically the equivalent of AWS or Google Cloud.
Thank you.
Do we have more questions? Please, yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Where do you store data for the analytics in your DataSlive solution?
So it's not a one-off based solution. It depends on the customer's needs. So we sit down with the customer, we see what they need, and then we have a file where we say like a configuration file, where we say enable this service, type a command, and then it spins up in the needed way. Like if they need 20 HDFS nodes, they get 20 HDFS nodes.
Okay, so it's based on the HDFS storage system?
No, you have HDFS, you have Ceph. Basically, we use mostly HDFS or Ceph for block storage. Yes.
Oh, you're pretty flexible about
Pretty
it?
flexible, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We use also MinIO if needed, Gluster, so, or whatever customer needs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Do we have another question? Yes, please.
So I'm interested in a sense, like from your customer base, how many of your clients are actually aware of their maturity level of the organization and their data?
That's a good question. So most of them are aware. Even those that weren't are slowly becoming more aware as we educate them towards a more data maturity-oriented day-to-day company, matters. So one of our customers has 400 employees, and they have a really core data team that came to us really eager to learn, and they knew that the data was key, data maturity, and data maturity is not only hey, let's work with data. No, it's about people, processes, and technologies. I mean, you can use technologies as much as you want, you'll just get nowhere. But if you use fancy technologies, you'll get nowhere faster. So. You have to have processes in place that enable people to really explore and learn. People need to be data-minded. So where do I store this data? Where do I store this data? Okay, can we merge it somehow? So if we have 20 sources, can we, and we have 500 operational reports, are there any mutual reports that use same data? So can we have some intermediary layer? Then we can create data pipelines. Stories like that. And smaller companies that weren't data-oriented now are. and are seeing the benefits of using really automated data pipelines. We even use GitLab in one of our solution, and the CI/CD solution is really nice. The data engineer just changes something, and then it pushes, and everything is done on its own. Yeah.
I
Thank you.
think that we have one more question, yes?
Hi, thanks for the talk. I agree with you that the costs can creep up if you use one of these hyperscalers, but a bit a question and a challenge to you. Why do you think you can keep them down once you start scaling at that level?
Why do I think I can keep them down? Because we've already developed this solution over the years, and we don't need to charge the customers on a usage basis. So how AWS, Google, and all the cloud companies, they do business and they charge you for everything. Ingress, egress, compute, copy, query, everything. So we don't do that. We just dedicate the machine for you if you don't have it. So you pay for that, one-off cost. And then you have a small maintenance fee, like $100 per node per month, and that's it. And that comes down to at least 10 times less money compared to cloud providers. We can keep the cost down because we already developed the solution. I mentioned that, and we don't have a need to develop it anymore. We just follow the best security practices, upgrade it once in a while, and that's it. Once we deploy it, it just works.
Do we have more questions? Yes, please.
Hi, thank you for the talk. I wanted to ask you about, or if you could share your experience with going into this place. I mean, I guess everything ends up to make some business value, and in order to make some business value, you need to take some data, and there's kind of an experiment that, okay, if we take this data, we're gonna make some business value, but on the other hand, when you want to make a data mature, you don't know which of the data is worth putting an effort to make it mature so someone can use it in other team to make some kind of a business value out of it. So it's because you could start with making some kind of a data maturity on data what you have, but if nobody will use it at the end of the day, then you wasted your time on I don't know, cleaning the data, making data contracts, etc. So do you have any thoughts how to start with this, or how this journey looks like, or if it's starting with making mature data and then maybe someone in company will make a business out of it, or maybe it starts with the business and then we see, okay, we need to work on some data contracts, etc.
So if I understood you correctly, so you're interested in my opinion on where to start with adding some business value.
Maybe not adding the business value, or how to maintain or work with the data, because you could start with the business opportunity or business value, or you could start with, okay, we have this raw data in our company and we can make it more mature, we can, I know, clean up, prepare it, etc. And then somebody can use this data. But this can be waste if nobody will take it and make a business value out of it.
Well, you cannot start working with data unless you've defined the business use case.
But sorry, if you start with the business use case, then maybe you're gonna have this data without any maturity, right? It will be like our raw data or something like this.
Well, you have to know what you need, basically, and then you see what you have. And then this black box inside is basically where the magic happens. You need to transform the data in a way that can be used by someone else. So what do I mean by that? If you have unreliable sources at the beginning, and then you know that you have to merge 3 sources, you have to pull them first. You have to pull them into your data lake environment, in order not to query the databases, too much. And then there you just you try some different things. We use Apache Spark, Flink for that. We just experiment in trying to merge the data, do some SQL joins or whatever is needed. and then we spit it out on the other end in a data warehouse, and then you have the clean data. I mean, if that was your question. But you need to play around with it and see what you need to have.
Okay, thank you very much. It's time for a coffee break. See you here at 11:30. Thank you very much, and you'll get your certificate later.
Yeah?
You'll get because I heard that you have another session, right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Yes.
yes. So the organizers
Join us tomorrow
told
on
me
a
that.
breakout session.
Enjoy. See you here at 11:30.